Welcome to a journey of mythological discovery, where ancient tales are unraveled. In this episode, we delve deep into the enigmatic identities of Anu, Yahweh, and Enlil. Prepare to be captivated by the secrets of the past. Let's begin. Anu, not Enlil, embodies Yahweh's essence. It's time to dispel this enduring misconception. A comprehensive exploration of comparative mythology clearly establishes that the original identity of the biblical deity Yahweh is undeniably linked to Anu, the formidable god of heaven within the Sumerian pantheon. This revelation extends beyond mere superficial traits, delving into profound mythological parallels, with only limited commonalities shared between Enlil and Yahweh, primarily centered around their shared wrathful and authoritarian disposition and military prowess. This is the crux of why many mistakenly associate Enlil with the biblical deity while sidelining Anu. It's crucial to understand that the tetragrammaton YHWH, vocalized as Yahweh, doesn't represent the Hebrew god's original name. Instead, it serves as a Semitic epithet signifying he who makes exist or he who creates. This shorthand is an abbreviation of Yahweh Sabaoth, denoting he who creates the hosts, armies. This divine epithet mirrors the martial nature of the Israelite warrior god who famously identifies himself as a man of war, Exodus 15:3. The original name for the god in the Bible was El, occasionally rendered in its plural form as Elohim. So, who was El initially? In the pre-biblical Semitic belief system, El occupied the exalted position of the pantheon's supreme deity and was the progenitor of 70 Elohim, the junior deities, alongside his divine consort Asherah. He was esteemed as the pantheon's king, the god of the heavens, a deity associated with agriculture, the leader of the divine assembly, and a formidable judge and divine warrior, revered by the Phoenicians, Philistines, and early Hebrews. His commonly used titles included El du Yahweh Sabaoth, a martial moniker signifying El who creates the hosts, armies, and a precursor to the biblical Yahweh Sabaoth. He was also known as the Father of Years, an equivalent of the Jehovitic epithet Ancient of Days found in the Book of Daniel, and the Father of all the Elohim. It's essential to acknowledge that the cult of El in ancient Levant was marked by practices such as human sacrifice and the offering of firstborn males, particularly heinous acts that the Hebrews inherited in their subsequent Jehovitic worship. In antiquity, El bore similarities to the bloodthirsty and child-sacrificing Titan, Kronos, in the neighboring Greek mythos. Having established the shared identity of El and Yahweh, we can conclusively assert that the biblical god El Yahweh traces his roots to the pre-Israelite Semitic pantheon in the ancient Levantine region. Furthermore, El Yahweh was indistinguishable from Kronos, the supreme Titan in Greek mythology. Just as El in the Levantine Semitic pantheon and Kronos in Hellenic mythology occupied the seat of heaven's king, Anu held an equivalent position as the sovereign of heaven and the highest deity in the Sumero-Akkadian pantheon. In contrast, Enlil never ascended to the throne of heaven and consistently held the secondary divine rank. Moreover, much like El Yahweh, Anu was known as the Lord of the heavenly hosts, feared as a formidable judge who forged heavenly armies to dispense punishment upon transgressors, and respected as the foremost leader of the divine council. He was acclaimed as the progenitor of all the Anunnaki. These characteristics closely mirror many of those attributed to El Yahweh within Western Semitic religion. It's apt to assert that none of these attributes align with Enlil. The Sumerian sky god, Anu, and the preeminent Semitic deity, El, were regarded as the same divine entity in the northern regions of Mesopotamia. The Akkadian term Alu, from which the Semitic name El originates, finds its roots in Sumero-Akkadian religious culture and is intimately linked with Anu. The cuneiform ideogram denoting this deity's name was Polysemous, signifying Anu or Alu, revealing a profound linguistic connection. Inescapably, El, Yahweh, is Anu, period. What's certain is that the biblical deity bears no connection to the Sumerian god Enlil, apart from their biological relationship. Several more striking parallels persist between El Yahweh and Anu. In Semitic religious traditions, El was symbolized by a solar disk with wings, featuring a central pointed star. The Book of Amos alludes to the god worshipped by the Hebrews as having a star-like representation. Similarly, the Sumerian god Anu was also depicted with a pointed star within a solar disk. In Semitic religion, both El and his Greek counterpart, Kronos, were associated with the planet Saturn. It's a well-established fact that Judaism has, from its inception, held Saturn as a focal point. The sacred day of El Yahweh is Saturday, the Saturn day Latin, dies Saturni, Classical Greek, Chronia. While many recognize Sabbath as stemming from Shabbath, signifying the day of rest, Few are aware that this Hebrew root shares etymological links with Shabbathai, the name for the god and the planet Saturn in Hebrew. Additionally, in Kabbalah, a branch of Jewish mysticism, Yahweh Elohim is associated with the Sephirah Binah, and by extension, with Saturn. In Greco-Roman mythology, the Titan Saturn Kronos infamously immolated and consumed his own offspring out of fear that they might surpass him and seize his throne. This Saturnine cult has historically maintained a disturbing fascination with ritual child sacrifice, a practice that found its way into the primitive Judaic faith and subsequently took on exoteric and esoteric forms in Christianity, most notably in the sacrifice of Father Yahweh's Son, Yeshua, Jesus Christ, on the cross. In the end, a concealed aspect of Judaism is its Saturnine worship. Parallelly, in Mesopotamian tradition, the sky god Anu was linked with the planet Saturn. Saturn has perennially been regarded as the most high celestial body by secular societies, associated with a dark and malevolent force of tyranny. It's noteworthy to mention that counter-narratives have arisen against Yahweh to undermine his assertion of supremacy over creation. According to certain late Mesopotamian records, Anu was fabricated as a violent usurper who vanquished a predecessor named Alalu in a celestial struggle for the heavenly throne. In a similar vein, in Hellenic mythology, the belligerent Titan Kronos, who closely parallels the Semitic deity El, was a tyrannical figure who overcame his own father in combat to claim the celestial throne and subsequently devoured his own offspring in fear that they would eclipse his power and seize his dominion. In the book of Genesis, El Yahweh opposes Adam's consumption of the tree of knowledge and chastises the serpent for bestowing upon humanity the wisdom of the gods. He then withholds from humankind the fruit of the tree of life, the key to immortality. In the legend of Adapa, the original Sumerian rendition of the Adam story, Anu, the king of heaven, strives to prevent Adapa from attaining divine knowledge. He laments that the Eshungal, the great serpent, Enki, residing in the sanctuary of Eridu, has revealed the cosmic design to humans, ultimately forcing Adapa to return to earth without partaking of the water and bread of life. Yahweh and Anu are, in reality, the same entity, playing analogous roles in both Genesis and the original Sumerian account. Anu Yahweh assumes the role of a stern god of heaven, punishing rebellion, opposing the enlightenment offered by the rebellious serpent, and consequently becoming bitter adversaries of the serpent while denying humanity access to immortality. As per the biblical account, El Yahweh decides to unleash a deluge to cleanse the earth of the genetically corrupt humankind and the associated hybrid beings created through the incursion of Azazel's watchers on Mount Hermon, which led to the birth of the Nephilim and various hybrid creatures. In Sumerian flood narratives, such as the one found in Nippur, it is Anu who presides over the divine council and makes the fateful decision to eradicate all life on Earth, sparing only 8 individuals and pairs of each clean animal species on a colossal wooden Arkansas. Enlil, while still supporting his father Anu at the time, holds a secondary role within the Anunnaki Council, and the responsibility for the catastrophic cataclysm ultimately falls squarely on Anu's shoulders. Notably, authors like Sitchin often downplay Anu's pivotal role in favor of scapegoating Enlil. Yahweh's identity is undeniably that of Anu, the celestial sovereign and biological progenitor of Enki and Enlil. In summary, El Yahweh and Anu share numerous attributes, most of which find few parallels in Enlil. Both entities serve as supreme deities of the heavens, patriarchal figures, fierce and authoritarian rulers, and figures associated with Saturn. Furthermore, both El, Yahweh, and Anu share the title Father of Time, engage in blood sacrifice, and orchestrate a spiritual harvest, in addition to opposing the enlightenment of humanity through the serpent in the sacred Eden/Eden sanctuary. Now, what of Enlil's Semitic identity? Enlil corresponds to Baal in the Semitic pantheon. In line with Anu's status in the Sumerian pantheon, El was recognized as the father of all the Elohim in Semitic tradition. His prominent offspring included Baal, a war deity, lord of storms, and vice president of the divine assembly, as well as Kothar Wa-Kauses, a god of wisdom, craftsmanship, and magic. Baal and Kothar Wa-Kauses, both sons of El, Anu, bear a close resemblance to Enlil and Enki, respectively, in Semitic lore. Much like Enlil, who held the title of god of wind or god of the air in Sumerian religion, Baal was revered as a storm god in the pre-Israelite Semitic pantheon. Often depicted wielding a lightning bolt, Baal closely resembled the Greek titan Zeus, son of Kronos, El, Anu, in Hellenic mythology. Similarly, just as Enlil was lauded for his exceptional valor as a divine warrior of the second generation and was known as the Bull of Heaven, Baal was perceived as a youthful warrior and was symbolized by the calf in Semitic religion. In this regard, Enlil's likeness aligns more with Baal, given that the Hebrew god, akin to his precursor El, is depicted as the Ancient of Days with hair like pure wool in the book of Daniel and as a great god whose years are unsearchable in the book of Job. It's undeniable that Enlil doesn't share Yahweh's identity since he occupies the role of a youthful warrior in the second generation of the pantheon, while El Yahweh and Anu belong to the first generation. Notably, El Yahweh is represented as a venerable, patriarchal god, referred to as Ab-Shnum or Father of Years. Additionally, similar to Enlil, who held the second highest position in the Anunnaki Council and presided beside his father Anu, Baal served as the vice president of the Assembly of the Elohim and governed alongside his father El, remaining subordinate to him throughout. This dynamic mirrors the relationship between El and Baal in Semitic religion, which closely parallels the dynamic between Anu and Enlil in the Sumerian pantheon. However, this relationship undergoes a significant transformation in the biblical era. In the Bible, Baal, Enlil, is portrayed as a false god of foreign heathens, maligned as a perverse idol of the Philistines, and scornfully branded as Baal-Zebub, Beelzebub, in Hebrew, a mocking term meaning Lord of the Flies. Some biblical scholars suggest that Baal-Zebub may be a derogatory distortion of the divine title Baal-Zebul, which translates to Lord of the High Places, a term that resonates with Enlil's association as Lord of the Air. In the Hebrew Bible, Baal is accused of human sacrifice, while in Christianity, he is vilified as the prince of demons and devil Satan. This marks another instance of accusatory inversion, a recurring motif in the Anu Yahweh narrative. Despite El Yahweh's historical association with blood sacrifices, he projects these desires onto his son Baal, Enlil, and attributes his own malevolent acts to him. Ultimately, El Yahweh, Anu, and Baal, Enlil, become adversaries, with the latter aligning with his benevolent half-brother Enki, the great serpent of divine wisdom. Revisiting the Pantheon. An examination of the highest echelon of each respective pantheon within the region, taking into account the roles and characteristics of their deities, reveals the incompatibility of Enlil with the biblical deity Yahweh. Enlil is far more aligned with Baal in the Semitic pantheon and with Zeus in Greek mythology. The Mesopotamian, Semitic, and Greek pantheons share a common structural framework. The top tier of male deities typically comprises a triumvirate of three high gods, each with distinct individual attributes. The supreme god is invariably a despotic heavenly monarch, the father of all pantheon deities, characterized by a jealous temperament, associated with the planet Saturn, and often linked to temporal authority. The second figure is a youthful warrior, the favored son of the king, a deity with significant political influence who governs alongside his father in the divine assembly, and a storm god. The third figure, usually another son of the king, is a benevolent deity, a great teacher to humanity, well versed in the arts of construction, magic, and knowledge, and often associated with water-related domains. As previously demonstrated, Anu, El, Yahweh, and Kronos share an array of characteristics. All three serve as heavenly gods, stern patriarchs, vengeful rulers, and figures tied to Saturn. Furthermore, both El, Yahweh, and Kronos share the title Father of Time, endorse blood sacrifices, and orchestrate a spiritual harvest, while also opposing the enlightenment of humanity through the serpent in the sacred Eden/Eden sanctuary. Conversely, Enlil, Baal, and Zeus exhibit numerous shared traits. All are sons of the heavenly monarch, favored by humanity, youthful warriors of the second generation, renowned for their martial prowess, and hold high positions in the divine council, often ruling alongside their father. Each also serves as a storm deity, brandishing a devastating lightning bolt to vanquish foes. Enki in the Sumero-Akkadian pantheon, Kothar wa Kausis in early Semitic religion, and Poseidon in Greek mythology are essential sons of the pantheon ruler, deities of wisdom, masters of craftsmanship, magic, and the occult sciences, and benefactors of humanity. Both Enki and Poseidon possess dominion over watery realms and share the appellation Lord of the Earth, with Enki stemming from the Sumerian roots En, Lord, and Ki, Earth, and Poseidon likely originating from the primitive roots Posis, Lord, Owner, and Da, equivalent to Earth in the Doric Greek dialect. In conclusion, Enlil cannot be equated with the biblical god Yahweh. Instead, he bears a closer resemblance to Baal, a deity condemned and reviled in the Bible, which represents the word of Yahweh. Enlil Baal has become a rival to his powerful father, Anu Yahweh, allying himself with the Enkites in a cosmic struggle. Enlil Baal has assumed the role of the deceptive false liberator of sinful humanity, rebelling against Anu's agenda for Earth's supremacy through Christ, a plan set in motion at Eden and culminating in the Gog-Magog scenario. Thank you for joining us on this mythological journey of discovery. We hope you've enjoyed this deep dive into ancient mysteries. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to stay tuned for more captivating content. Until next time, keep exploring the secrets of the past.